Canelo done something that is amazing when Canelo was able to go to light heavyweight and become light heavyweight champion. Something that I didn't even see him going up that heavy, and he did that.
Canelo lands good punches. I think Canelo could hurt Crawford. Crawford's, first time in that division and jumping 2 divisions.
The way that Terence Crawford, being to me my favorite fighter, the best fighter pound for pound, can be Canelo. A 147-pounder moving up to 68.
Floyd Mayweather weighed in on the possibility of Terence Crawford facing Canelo Alvarez, and he didn't hold back. In his view, the main obstacle isn't Crawford's talent, it's the physical gap. Jumping multiple weight classes is more than a test of skill. It's about whether a fighter can absorb the power, pace, and durability that naturally bigger athletes bring. Canelo has spent years competing against larger, stronger opponents, while Crawford is stepping into unfamiliar territory. According to Mayweather, that difference could ultimately prove too much, no matter how sharp Crawford's technique may be.
Because of the weight disadvantage. I can't go all the way up to 180 or 190 pounds.
Robert Garcia weighed in on the potential matchup, stressing that Terence Crawford's inexperience at super middleweight could be his biggest hurdle yet. Crawford has dominated across several divisions, but stepping into Canelo Alvarez's natural territory is a different challenge altogether. Garcia explained that Canelo has built his career competing against naturally larger opponents, while Crawford still hasn't shown whether he can keep the same speed, sharpness, and endurance with the added size. He also observed that Crawford's body hasn't fully adjusted to the weight jump, making him look slightly less explosive and fluid than usual. Against a veteran like Canelo, who has mastered this division, those details could prove decisive.
2 divisions where he only had 1 fight at 154 and didn't look his best either. So there's a lot of questions, about that. And that's why a lot of people think Canelo is going to knock out Crawford. But I'm probably one of the only ones that I do give Crawford a chance. Yeah. I think Crawford could pull it off. Crawford is very talented. He's very fast. He's very smart in the ring. So I think a perfect fight, Crawford could pull off a decision.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think he could win a decision. I don't pick him. I wouldn't put my money on him winning because it's a very dangerous, risky fight, especially with Canelo being so strong. But Canelo's last few performances, he's looked slow, flat-footed, looking for 1 punch at a time. And if that's the Canelo that fights Crawford, Crawford could win a decision. Crawford could outbox him, could outsmart him, could land 3-4 punch combinations and move and win a decision. So do I give Crawford a chance? 100% think Crawford could pull it off. Would I put my money on it? Probably not, but I do give him a chance.
Yeah, good stuff. Look, Robert, appreciate you taking time to speak to me. I appreciate you letting me in the gym today. Always a pleasure. And hopefully be catching up sometime soon.
Thanks
appreciate
for coming.
it. Thank you.
Very
Cheers.
much.
Showbiz the Adult highlighted just how high the stakes are in the upcoming Crawford versus Canelo showdown. He explained that if Terence Crawford can overcome Canelo Alvarez's natural size and power, his legacy would reach unprecedented levels, firmly placing him in the same conversation as Floyd Mayweather among the all-time greats. A victory of that magnitude would establish Crawford as the pound-for-pound king of his generation, silencing any doubts about his resume. Still, Showbiz cautioned that such an achievement wouldn't automatically surpass Mayweather's legacy. Floyd's undefeated record and dominance across multiple eras remain unmatched. But for Crawford, this fight represents a rare opportunity to elevate himself into that exclusive tier of boxing history, just 1 step behind Mayweather.
Undisputed is insane. If you were to beat Canelo, Terence Crawford, at that point, pound for pound, right under Floyd. Wherever you got Floyd, whatever you got him, Terence Crawford's right behind him. Unless you got him first. Okay, how about me? Because I don't have Floyd in my top 10. I have Pacquiao over Floyd. So I know somebody's about to get moist, but I would put Terence Crawford, man, that's old school. That's Henry Armstrong, Sam Langford. Like that's old. That's Joe Gans and Barbados Joe Walcott and Barbados Joe, not Jersey. I'm Barbados. Like that's old school accomplishments. Man, that's throwback. I would have to assess that. 3-time undisputed in the 4-belt era, and against who? Yo, that I don't think Pacquiao would have I don't think he achieved anything in a single fight that would be greater than Terence Crawford jumping up 3 weight classes and beating Canelo. I don't think Pacquiao achieved anything in a single fight greater than that. Not in a single fight. Beating Cotto, I still, because Cotto was weight drained. Has Floyd done anything? Well, he beat Canelo.
Jeff Mayweather had a sharp response to Canelo Alvarez's claim that Terence Crawford is better than Floyd. According to Jeff, that statement has less to do with reality and more to do with Canelo's own history. Since Canelo was soundly beaten by Floyd, suggesting that Crawford is superior gives him a way to soften the impact of that loss. Jeff made it clear that while Crawford is a tremendous fighter with elite skills, he has not yet matched Floyd's dominance or his body of work across the sport. In Jeff's view, Mayweather's perfect record and the way he consistently defeated top-tier opponents speak for themselves. Until Crawford reaches that level of achievement, Jeff insists, comparisons between the two are premature.
So if we remember, Canelo that time was a razor-thin decision. Floyd won, majority decision. C.J. Ross had it with what a lot of people had as a draw. And then the other 2 judges scored it for Floyd, of course.
Yeah, nobody had it.
And that was a Floyd at the top of his game with a very green Canelo with very little experience, and he still took him, into deep waters. So
yeah, what was Canelo? What, 20-something? 20 what? 23, 25?
Yeah, he was. Very, very young in the game, obviously.
Very young. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost.
Yeah, but
man, that was 30-something years old, 36.
But Floyd was clearly at the top of his career, and Canelo had fought a lot of people. But are you at the top of your career in your prime? You in your prime? You ain't in your prime when you at 36. That's not your prime. Did he lose? I mean,
your prime is in your 20s.
It's different for different people.
Yeah, okay. Well, so, and that's why Canelo is saying what he's saying.
Joel Diaz flatly dismisses Crawford's chances, pointing to the massive gap in size between the two fighters. He reminds fans that Canelo has already gone the distance with heavy punchers known for both power and toughness. If Alvarez could withstand the bombs from someone like Gennady Golovkin, Diaz questions how Crawford, who has mostly fought opponents closer to his natural weight, can realistically do lasting damage. In Diaz's view, Crawford's skills are elite, but they cannot erase the physical disadvantages he'll face on fight night. He stresses that many fighters underestimate just how punishing it is to move up against naturally bigger opponents until they actually feel that power. Against Canelo, Diaz believes, the combination of durability and strength is simply too much for Crawford to overcome.
Ask him who Skull is, they won't even know who he is. I don't even know who he is. But they chose him for a reason, right? A guy with a good record. But
he's a champion, and
he's a champion.
He's got the kind of the other stone that's out there that Canelo needs to connect. Again, the fight against Terence Crawford.
It's a fight for Canelo to win. Simple as that. That's what I can tell you.
Then in September, if Canelo wins, he's got Terence Crawford waiting in the wings.
There is no way that Terence Crawford, being to me my favorite fighter, the best fighter pound for pound, can beat Canelo. A 147 pounder moving up to 68. He can only maybe go 2-3 rounds, and then Canelo hits him and he hurts him. Canelo's being hit by Triple G, the hardest hitter in the division, and never hurt him. But Canelo will hit Crawford and he'll hurt him. Let's put it this way. You remember the fight Benavidez and Demetrius Andre?
Yes.
Demetrius Andre was a great fighter. Nobody wanted to fight him at 54. He moved to 60. Fight 1 or 2. Nobody wanted to fight him at 60. So what did he do? He moved up to 68 because there was nothing for him to fight Benavidez, a big fighter like that. Look what he did in the first early round. Demetrius Andre was in control. He was doing great. But once that weight starts kicking in, it takes over. There is no way that Crawford can beat Canelo. Turkey on the cheek. It's a big fan of Terence Crawford. He wants to give him a good payday, and simple as that. That's all it is, man.
The debate over ring size has added yet another layer to the pre-fight strategy. Some argue that whether the ring is 18 feet or 22 feet, the impact on the outcome will be minimal. Supporters of Crawford suggest that a bigger ring could give him more space to utilize his movement, angles, and slick footwork to stay elusive and offset Canelo's forward pressure. But seasoned analysts point out that Canelo has competed in every kind of ring and consistently found ways to adapt. While a larger space might offer Crawford a slight tactical edge, it won't erase the reality of Alvarez's natural size and punching power. In the end, the result will come down to execution inside the ropes, not the dimensions around them.
Biggest things in this Canelo Crawford fight we are not talking about is the ring size. If these guys are fighting in the non-traditional 18 by 18 ring, you're gonna want to put your money on Canelo, guys. It is a big difference. Losing out on that extra 4 feet is going to be an issue for Crawford. It's still possible. Crawford's talented. He's athletic. He has all the potential in the world to pull off a crazy upset here. No matter the ring size, it don't matter. Terence Crawford's that brilliant. He's that excellent. But I'm going to tell you, man, losing out on that 4 feet is gonna hurt his odds. It's the same thing with 22 feet. Like I said, I don't know what ring they're going with, but if it is in the 22 feet, it's gonna hurt Canelo's odds by a pretty decent margin. Maybe not as much as it's gonna hurt Crawford odds in the 18, but it's still gonna hurt it. You're giving Crawford an extra 4 feet to pivot, maneuver, slip, bob, weave, do whatever he wants. That's gonna give Canelo some issues. I feel like we're not talking about this enough. I heard Turkey said it was gonna be an 18. That was a really long time ago. Like I said, I don't know if they've confirmed what it's gonna be quite yet, but I think it's interesting. Once we get the official announcement, you guys, that's when you place your bets.
Crawford's commanding victory over Errol Spence has fueled confidence among fans who believe he can rise to the challenge against Canelo. That performance highlighted his elite timing, adaptability, and ability to close the show with precision, leaving no doubt about his dominance at welterweight. Yet, experts warn against assuming the same formula will succeed at super middleweight. They stress that Spence, despite his talent, is not the kind of naturally bigger opponent Crawford would encounter at 168 pounds. Analysts often point to fighters like Israel Madrimov as examples of physically stronger athletes Crawford has yet to face. On the other hand, Canelo has already been tested by opponents larger than himself and continues to thrive. The lingering question is whether Crawford's brilliance at welterweight can carry over when confronted with Canelo's size, power, and proven durability.
Hey y'all, the simple real fact is, Terence Crawford never looked that good fighting anybody but Errol Spence. Another real fact is, y'all put too much on Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford. Y'all act like he just beat fucking Jesus or Thanos or something. Okay, I get it. Errol Spence was that guy. He beat him. He dominated him. He won that fight. But y'all take that and y'all put so much on that fight, but then y'all look at the Madrimov fight and say, he was a tricky fighter. He's hard for anybody. No one can beat Madrimov. He's the second best fighter in the world because he went 12 rounds with Crawford. Not the case. Y'all put too much on the Errol Spence fight and y'all don't put enough on the Madrimov fight. Then we go back to Canelo. Y'all say Canelo, he don't stop nobody. When last time he knocked nobody? If he can't knock out Berlanga, he's not gonna knock out. If he can't knock out him, he's not gonna knock out Crawford, bruh. Just like Crawford went up to 54 and he couldn't get a knockout, Canelo has went up to 75. He couldn't knock out Bivol. He went up to 68, and those guys are way bigger. He's fighting guys way bigger than him. Crawford could knock out Madrimov because he's his size. So you think he gonna knock out Canelo? He's bigger than Canelo. Bro, Canelo got a granite chin. I don't know if y'all know the Canelo. The only people who saying that Crawford's gonna knock Canelo out is people who has to be casuals. They probably have not watched the fight since the Tank last fight, or they probably ain't watched the fight since the Errol Spence versus Bud Crawford fight, because I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all niggas didn't even see that Madrimov fight. Y'all just synced it and y'all running with it. Cut it out.
Rosado reflects on Canelo's defeat to Floyd Mayweather, calling it a turning point in the Mexican star's career. At that stage, Canelo was still young and lacked the experience to cope with a defensive genius like Floyd. While the loss was humbling, Rosado believes it served as a critical lesson that fueled Canelo's evolution. Over the years, Alvarez has developed greater confidence, sharpened his technique, and learned how to adapt against a wide range of styles. According to Rosado, this growth has transformed Canelo into a far more complete and dangerous fighter than the version Floyd once outclassed, meaning Crawford must contend with a seasoned, battle-tested champion at the peak of his maturity.
Too soon for Xander, but who knows, man? I mean, who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like Canelo needed more seasoning when he fought Floyd, or do you think that Floyd just got his number? Period.
Yeah, I think he was very inexperienced when he fought Floyd. You know, he's a different fighter, but see, everybody's different. That fight is what made Canelo become the fighter that he is today. So, you know, that's why boxing, man, is like when they shame guys for losses, it's like, man, you just got to really see how a fighter bounces back from a loss. It's like, cause, you know, when Canelo lost to Floyd, there was a lot of things that Canelo learned in that fight that he added to his game. Next thing you know, Canelo started moving his head and his counters got better and his speed, and he understood timing. He understood how to like break guys down differently because he learned that off Floyd. So I think it was a good learning experience for Canelo. And then, you know, I think that kind of fight is gonna help him in the Crawford fight.
Sebastian Fundora cautions that Terence Crawford may not fully grasp the toll that facing Canelo Alvarez could take on him. He explains that competing at super middleweight isn't just about adding pounds, it demands long-term adaptation, something Canelo has mastered over years of battling naturally bigger men. The Mexican superstar has molded his career around enduring the grind of this division, proving his ability to absorb power and maintain strength against larger opponents. Crawford, on the other hand, is stepping into this territory for the very first time, which could leave him drained both physically and mentally. Fundora warns that the true impact may not be seen during the fight itself, but in the aftermath, when the strain of challenging a seasoned champion like Canelo becomes fully apparent.
Could be. We'll see what PBC has for us.
To play with Canelo or Crawford?
Canelo.
Yeah. What do you think is the most significant part of that matchup in Canelo being Canelo versus Crawford?
That he's comfortable at 150, 168. You know, that he's been fighting there. He went and collected all the belts at that weight class. Crawford, of course, Crawford has a chance. He has a big chance, you know, being one of the pound-for-pound fighters of the world. But it's just the advantage of being there first. You know what to expect in that weight class. Crawford's coming off a 154 fight that he fought last year. So I really don't consider him even a 154. He's been fighting at 147 for a while. He had that one fight at 154, and then he stopped fighting for a year again. So, you know, of course he's probably been training, you know, again, high-class fighter. But to be comfortable at 168, you're going to have to do some fights in there. And going in there fighting the undisputed champion, it's going to take a toll.
What about Ennis? He's the new addition to 154. He's yet to fight there. Canelo brought him in camp specifically because he's a switch hitter like Terence Crawford. What do you make of Ennis just not being in your division and then him contributing to Canelo's camp heading into this fight? Is that a good move?
I think it's good for Canelo's camp to have a fighter like Ennis. Because, yeah, he likes to switch right-handed, southpaw. I think Canelo probably didn't need that. But, you know, the fact that Ennis went might cause a little bit of drama. I think he did for a dramatic effect. But, you know, great fighter at 147, but 154 is a different division. They have me in there, so we'll see what he can do.
Critics frequently debate the entertainment value of Terence Crawford's style compared to Canelo Alvarez's. While Crawford is admired for his technical brilliance and adaptability, some argue that his fights often lack the explosive, highlight reel moments that capture the attention of casual fans. Canelo, by contrast, has built his reputation on delivering drama, whether through crushing knockouts, relentless body attacks, or high-stakes battles on the biggest stages. Analysts caution that even if Crawford were to defeat Canelo, it would not automatically make him the global face of boxing. To truly seize that mantle, he would need to take on and conquer other formidable opponents, such as Dmitry Bivol, proving his ability against naturally bigger and more dangerous competition. Only then could Crawford rival the global spotlight and mainstream appeal that Canelo currently commands.
You know, the closer you get, the more outlandish these statements were. We had one outlandish one that his fighting style is not entertaining. Right? Canelo's fighting style is more entertaining than Terence Crawford's. I don't know what lens you're looking through, right? Well, why isn't Terence Crawford's fighting style entertaining? So that's one thing. Well, here's the next one. Now, I don't know. Check this out. They're saying that Terence Crawford won't even be great if he were to defeat Canelo Alvarez. He won't be great if he defeats Canelo Alvarez because all the stuff he's done until now, becoming two-division undisputed, beating a lot of undefeated fighters and a lot of fighters with one loss, seems to not be anything. But even beating Canelo Alvarez, the face of boxing, four-division champion, undisputed super middleweight champion, none of that would matter because they list fighters that he would have to beat to become great. And most of them are fighters that four-division champ, Canelo Alvarez, that he won't fight. He would have to beat Artur Beterbiev, right? Canelo ain't fighting him. He would have to beat Dmitry Bivol, who Canelo won't fight again, definitely at 168 pounds because he wants to fight him at 175 because he wants to have the excuse that weight could be too big for him. Dimitri Bivol wants to fight Canelo Alvarez at 168 so he can become 2-division undisputed. Canelo doesn't want that. But Crawford has to beat that guy, right? Crawford has to beat David Benavidez as well, right? We know Canelo doesn't want to fight him, but Crawford has to beat him to become great, right? Remember, Canelo's great already. Then he would have to fight David Morrell.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the latest in boxing. Until next time.